How are you doing, everyone? Anthony Casey here. I'm doing a video to put to bed a few things that have been out there in the last month or two about me yet again. And I can tell you it's all come from the same source. They just have different faces. And it's the state. So if you need to go back and listen to this when more lies prop up, I'll refer back to this statement because I'm moving on. And the truth is I'm too busy. I have too much to do to be caught in this. And I know it's designed that way. The whole design thing is to make me look like I'm getting into petty squabbles online, so that'll sink my reputation. There's one person behind a lot of this, and he's used other people to do this, and now it's just someone else with a different face, with a different background. First of all, I'll address some of the lies. Agent of the state, okay? This is the pot kettle calling the kettle black. This is amazing stuff. If I'll just say something to the people who believe in this stuff and who comment about it. Look for receipts when people say something to you. Like I might say someone is part of a certain globalist clique, satanic clique, but I'll furnish the receipts, which I have done. If someone says that I work for the state, then look for receipts. If someone says my father works for the state, then look for receipts. If someone says that I said something about their son, look for receipts. If someone said that I told young lads to throw rocks, look for receipts. Look for videos that they're saying. Like, I've never spoken a lie on the Irish column, on any video I've done, on a stage, or to anyone across the nationalist movement. I don't like doing it. In general life, I don't like doing it. And I don't even like talking about people when they're not in the room. And I think that's a core Christian value, not to get into this. A tongue of fire. What I will say is that I furnished some receipts. The global state is using propaganda to divide us. It has for a while. It's the same person or people who decided not to let all the parties come together last year. It's the same people who wrote for the mainstream media and the state, who are pretending to use the name Shinnadena, that are taking people out of Shinnadena to launch their own version of it. They're trying to get us out of the way because they know we're honest people for the country and we might get a bit of traction behind us. That is the truth in a nutshell. People are saying that I make 720 grand off Shinnadena a year, that I charge people 15 quid membership a week. I can tell you there's over 1,000 people in Shinnadena, and hopefully they'll come to the comments now because they don't pay a cent in Shinnadena. We don't have a merch store because we even grappled with that idea. We even said we don't want to look like we're grifting off any of this stuff. When I'm talking about workshops and things like that, you're not going to be paying in. Maybe you'll pay some expert a small fee just to cover their expenses, but that's it. It's very important to know that there's a lot of people in this movement who have been bought right now. This only makes logical sense that across the Western world they'd have all these parties go up and they'd infiltrate it from the get-go, and that's what they did in Ireland. And it's no different than any other country. There's wolves in sheep's clothing everywhere, and when they sink themselves trying to attack normal people, they just use other people and they stay in the background and they keep their bib clean so that they can participate further down the line. I'm not going to allow myself to be dragged into the public spats anymore, because the last video that was made was particularly nasty. It referenced things about my mother, things about my father, very nasty stuff, and I'm not going to respond to that because I know a lot of people know this is a fight in good and evil, and the evil is rearing its face because we're getting close. Things are building. A lot of Christians feel this. Things are changing. Even with the nationalist movement, there's a line after being drawn in the sand. Are you part of this globalist funding regime? And it's Jesus in the desert. You know, there's the temptation. You'll get the lights, you'll get behind the microphone, you'll get a few bob for yourself, you'll get brought along with the flock, let's say. But I won't. And despite what people don't see in the background of the threats and nonsense, none of that makes a difference to me. That's the truth. So if people are thinking it does, and they're going to scare me away from going to certain places, and that's not going to happen. I'm going to go where I'm going to go. So people can have as many organizations, but it has to be for the country. And if it's not for the country, my thinking is that I don't care if people like me or don't like me. I'm going to call out the truth. So if you're not for the country and you're playing the fiddle, walking people off the cliff like the Pied Piper, then I'm going to be upset about that. I'm not going to be happy about that. And I'm going to call it out, because I don't like to see Irish people being fooled. That's where I stand. About a year ago, I left a certain party that was doing very well, because I saw through people at the helm of it. I left, trying not to make any big deal of it. Since then, they've been gunning for me. It's actually since before I left. That's fine. This is still the same entity that is attacking me with a different face now. But when I left, I knew that there was other party leaders who were saying that they wanted unity. And my whole idea was another party was to have a new banner and to invite everybody else in, that I didn't have to be the leader. And there's people among this movement who know that I rang them or did Zoom calls with them and said, you lead it. Because it didn't matter who it was. It had to be a new banner, a new face, something new that could bring everyone together. And I rang certain people and I messaged them to come meet me for a coffee. Nearly everybody. And I made a video when I was getting, I'll tag it, when I was getting slaughtered in other videos for being called this and that and the other. I made a video about you calling for unity. That was my response video. People think that I'm involved in all the controversy because my name keeps being brought up, but it's being brought up by the same circle of people. And even if I don't attack, people say, this is ridiculous, you know, come together, lads. The whole idea is that these people are there so that people don't come together. That's it. They will never sit down at a table because that doesn't fit their agenda of what they have to do. That will stop the globalist funding coming in. So right now, I'm going to dig down and get into the grassroots and get out to the towns and get out to the communities like I have been doing and build from there, because that's what matters. People networking across the country, ready for what, preempting what the government are going to do next. And we know what they're going to do next. Surveillance state, digital ID, all that kind of thing. We need to grow in solidarity and strength on the ground level. Not be restricted by policies, by certain wording, by anything like that. That's what we need to do now. With no election looming, we need to build communication between each other, build trust between each other. And I'm not talking about the political trust, I'm talking about grassroots stuff. So if people come on, and they're going to come, listen, I can promise you here now, I won't do another video or another message or another attack on anyone like I've done for months. But they'll still come and do a video, and people will still give it a thumbs up and share it. And that is what it is. Listen, I said I don't want to win any popularity contests. I don't really care. All I want is a good future, the best chance for my kids in this country. And like I said before, I was pre-warned about all this stuff 15 years ago at least. I knew it was coming when it started launching apart. And it is evil. This is a good and evil fight. And you're seeing it. Look at the people who are saying certain things. Look at their faces. Don't just be bought by the money. Don't be sucked in by people. Look for why they're saying it. Look for motives. So, there's a long story short here that to answer a few questions, yes, I am a carer for my father, who took a heart attack last year during the general election, who lives with me now, and he has a lot of strength himself. He's out there getting back onto his feet. Still a little bit of a ways to go. I am a carer for my ex's father, who has dementia, a few days a week, and I do a little bit of other work like I have today on. But for someone who got to over 10,000 doors between the local and general elections last year, I know carers are suffering in this country, and to say it's not a job is very, very nasty indeed, because that scares me of what party might come of that. we need to look after our carers. There's no services for autistic kids. There's a lack of services, psychology. There's a lack of supports, additional needs. People are on crazy waiting lists just to get diagnosis. We all know this all too well. Anyway, I'm not going to pick that and use that as a weapon. I'm just saying how important the likes of that thing is. Regardless of that, what I would say is that I've too much to do to get caught up in this squabbling back and forth. I've called for unity several times, and every time I do, a fresh attack is launched. So what I'm going to do is get down to the grassroots and get tucked in. And I have a lot of plans, a lot of plans. That's the one thing I always think. We can always be doing way more, and we are going to do way more. And it's always going to be for the service of the Irish people. So if people want to join, come on board Shinnadena. There's no leaders of that, regardless of what one certain person put out to the papers and the narrative is spun. There is no leaders to Shinnadena. But the more people who join it, the more help we can get to get things over the line. This will be a community lifeline. That's what we want. A societal lifeline. That we can say no to whatever they have coming down the line before they come down the line. It's like anyone you talk to, you know, they call you racist for saying anything about migrants coming in, and then you might show them the crime stats and they don't want to see it. You might say, well, what about that little girl last week, or what about that stabbing 2 weeks ago, what about that? They don't want to hear it. They don't want to see the stats of how all our counties are above record crime rates. They don't want to see any of this stuff. They don't want to hear the stories of the people on the ground. Some people are detached from, based on where they live or based on their jobs. They have their head buried in sand. And that's kind of what we're seeing here with all this stuff as well. So I would advise everybody to jump on board and support, or at least extend a little bit of patience when we're trying to build this again and reintroduce something to you. Again, I'm not here to sell anything whatsoever. I don't make money off people at all. And if someone has anything to say about me, let them come and furnish the receipts, because there are none. I'm in this because I can't see a whole lot of honest people, and that's the truth. And there is, I know, there's a lot of honest patriots who are here since ground one, and I have nothing but respect for them. They've been around the camps, they've called out things that other people are afraid to call out, such as excess deaths and all that kind of thing. And fair play to them. I have absolutely massive respect for them. But politically, when you put that aside for a minute, we need to, because it's a tool to divide us. There's no elections coming up. Let's get our head down. Let's join in together. Let's row in together. Yeah, that's the story. So I'm going to keep going. No slander is going to put me away from doing what I have to do. I believe God has given us all different roles in this, and regardless of these people coming out of the woodwork, that's fine. So it needs to be said that no lies will deter me from going forward, that no threats will scare me away from going forward, that I have already given this my main purpose in life, and that's what it is. So you can sneer me if you want. I don't really care what you think of me. That's the truth. I don't. I could care less. I don't care about taking the microphone in any different protest. I don't care about what this person thinks. It's not a popularity contest. All I want to do is help put tools in place that I know I'll need, and that hopefully others will see the benefit in and come and add some tools to the chest as well. So with that, Éireann go bragh. We have a massive fight ahead of us. We need to be more aligned. We can't be letting distractions and lies put us off our trail. I certainly won't let it put it off mine. So there will be controversy about me in the future, absolutely. Will any of it be true? No. But what else would you expect globalists to do except infiltrate, lie and deceive? I answer a lot of people who come to me directly, and I will turn up in public, and feel free to come up and ask me a question if you're worried about something, or if you're not happy with something I said. I'm there for that. I'm answerable to everybody the same way. We're just all people. No one's above anybody else. So with that, this is my statement on it. I need to go get to work and start digging and start building, and I'll be happy if you join me with it. Thank you.